Hi, I'm Dr. Cynthia Clark, acupuncture physician, applied clinical nutritionist, and president of Longevity Wellness. And today I'd like to introduce to you Brian Bradley, who I recently had the opportunity to meet, and he really touched my heart. His story just spoke so much to um, the heart of, well, I'm going to let you share his story yourself. Don't want to steal the thunder, but um, Brian, thank you so much for being with us today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And so, first, I'm going to ask you to tell us what you're doing and then your personal story about why you're doing that.
Sure. So I run a program with my partner. Her name is Devin, and the program is called 13 Weeks to Wellness. And effectively, the goal of this group is to get people who have really never moved their bodies before, um, getting them into the habit of moving their bodies. We start with walking and we progress all the way up to really nothing too crazy. We're not doing burpees in the program by any means. It's all very basic movements, and we learn how to productively get ourselves from point A to B.
Cool. And what inspired you to do this? I mean, working with
Sure.
people who've never been to a gym before is it's kind of a big thing, right? There's a lot of fear and unfamiliarity, and there's a lot of pieces to figure out. Like it's a big mission that you're on. So I'd love to hear about why you chose this mission.
Yeah. So the birth of the program, um, to give you some background, back in my early 20s, I was a personal trainer. Before that, however, I was the fat kid in school. I come from a family that I know that like I don't look like the fat kid anymore, but I'll tell you, even to this day, it still takes work. Um, I come from a family that has a whole lot of obesity in it, from my biological father to my grandmother to, my mother struggles with weight. She goes up and down all the time. Um, I don't want to mention any other family members for, fear of potentially um, insulting them, but it's something that runs in my genes pretty heavily. I was able to. I had a very good friend in high school who was a collegiate swimmer, and he introduced me to the gym. I fell in love with it, and that's how I became a personal trainer in my early 20s. Kind of fell off the wagon in my 30s when I got married. Looked in the mirror one day after somebody that I knew kind of well died of a heart attack. It was very close to my age. And that scared me. I had a young son at the time. He's still young. He's 9 now, but he was like 2 at the time. And I said, I can't let this happen. And I jumped right back on the horse. The program itself came. So during COVID, I have a very good friend of mine. Her name is Rosie. And she was probably in the realm of 150 to 160 pounds overweight, had never been to the gym. She was having problems walking. And so she initially lost a whole bunch of weight just through diet, just through doing keto. And, I think she lost about 80 pounds from doing keto. And she had no idea that I was a personal trainer. And so we're talking back and forth. And I said, well, hey, let me design you this little program. I said, at the time, it was actually 11 weeks, this program. Said, let's design this program, and you can do everything from home because, again, COVID. So we're all locked up, right? We're in New Jersey at the time, or I was. And so I made this program for her, and she followed it for the 11 weeks and then some more. And she lost the additional 80 pounds just from doing, diet and then the exercise that I gave her. And then the program kind of went away for about a year and a half until I met one of my son's friends who happens to be a life coach. And she also needed some help figuring out she had never really worked out before. And I told her about this program. Said, oh, I made this thing for a friend of mine, and, I'll share it with you. And so I gave it to her, and she also found phenomenal results. She lost like 60 pounds on the program. And,
Wow.
and I wasn't even trying to turn this into anything. It was just like, hey, here, take this, please. Let me help you. And she came to me, I don't know, a couple of months afterwards and was like, why aren't you doing this, Brian? And I was like, what do you mean doing this? And she's like, you should be sharing this program with the world. Like, it works, it's fun, it's easy. Like, you should be sharing this. And I was like, oh, okay. And so after, some
Hold
time
on.
and
You just
thinking
said
about
it
it,
works,
yeah,
it's fun, and it's easy.
you know what? I take it back. It's simple. Simple doesn't always mean easy, right? So, like,
Ah,
it's simple. All the instructions are there.
It's
We're
it
not,
works, it's fun, and it's simple.
yeah, yes, correct.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic. I was a personal trainer too, and that is like the trifecta of the holy grail. That's
yeah,
awesome. Okay, thanks for letting me interrupt.
yeah, sure. Um, so yeah, no, she inspired me to really think about how I could make this program um, universal. I mean, obviously, I interject, and some people have counterindications that they need help with. They can't move their knees in a certain way, or they can't. And but for the most part, all of the exercises in the program are things that you would see in an elementary school gym. We're not breaking the mold here. You don't need any heavy weights. You don't have to go to the gym. You can do it all from home. I suggest a couple of things like, resistance bands or, even like freezing water bottles in order to have some weights. But yeah, for the most part, when we get into the second phase, because there's, the first 13 weeks and then so on and so forth, then we can get into actually going out to the gym and being more comfortable around equipment and knowing how to move our bodies. But the first 13 weeks are pretty exclusively calisthenics based exercises with some resistance bands.
That's
So,
cool. I want to hear more about you. Um,
yeah.
yeah, I'm really curious. So, like, one question I have is when you had this buddy who was a swimmer that started working with you, like, was it easy for you to lose weight? Was it hard? Was it like nice because you had somebody guiding the way, or did he really just tell you, here, go do these laps and talk to me later? Like, what was that experience like for you?
I was young at the time. So it was easier for me to lose weight just because I was, 17, 18 years old. And, that's probably for a 17-year-old man, testosterone running through my body. Like I was very committed to going to the gym. It was very nice to have a buddy who was there with me, who knew all about this, who had read, bodybuilding books, who knew how to. And so I would just follow him, and he was my guy. Um, so I was at that time, I was able to lose weight very easily. Now, fast forward,
But
like I
hold
said,
on,
during
you
my,
were really
yeah,
committed,
yeah,
you just said.
very much.
So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
how many days a week did you do this back then?
At the time, I was probably going to the gym 6 days a week.
And can I
Yeah.
ask you a really personal question?
Yeah.
Like, if your whole family was overweight, like, how did that go? Did you get any pushback from family
No, they
members?
loved every second of it.
They were
Yeah.
supportive.
Yeah, very supportive and
Oh,
very inspired. And, my father, rest his soul, he passed away about a year ago. Um, he was always on some fad diet, like to the point where he would like, oh, I'm on the pretzel diet. I just eat pretzels. Or like, oh, I'm on the potato diet. I just eat potato. And I'm like, Dad, come on, man. But he was so happy for me because he saw me transform from this like awkward. I mean, I'm very tall. You can't tell on video. I'm 6'5". And
oh,
so I was like this awkward, chubby, weird looking teenager. And like I turned into a very athletic, young man. And he could not have been, more happy for me. Um,
oh, that's
my
great.
mom has done every diet you can think of, including Weight Watchers. And again, like sometimes she does really well, and other times, and it's this constant. But she was always so proud of me and always so enthusiastic. And so I have a very good support system when it comes to my family. There's no doubt about that.
That's
So
awesome. I know a lot of the clients that I see sometimes don't have that. Sometimes they were girls do weird stuff sometimes. Um, unintentionally, but
yeah,
sometimes daughters, as they go become women, they have some stuff to get over. So I'm so glad to hear that you had a great support system because I know in hearing just a little bit about your program, it sounds like it's the support from other women that has helped you choose to create the program in the first place and to be that support for them. So it's a really
yeah,
beautiful dynamic. I had another question for you just about your personal journey. So, and it is going to be another personal question. Just,
very open.
like I'm a healthcare practitioner. I have family members, some of whom I've been able to help, some of whom have declined my assistance. Some of them, I think, have listened to me years later, but I care about them. I carry them in my heart. And um, I'm just curious, like, what it's like for you with your family members. Like, is that is that part of your drive for creating this program? Like, do you have a desire to see your family members in a healthier place? Is that, I
Yeah,
don't mean to
yeah,
put words
very
in your mouth.
much. No, and I won't mention,
Sure,
specifics again because I don't want anybody to be offended. But,
absolutely.
there are people very close to me who I know are struggling with weight issues, who I know would love not to be struggling with weight issues, and I do my best to inspire just by continuing. Again, right now I weigh 245 pounds. I'm 6'5", so like it's a good weight for me. But it's hard to stay at this weight. I know it. Like I have to track everything. I have to measure my food. I have to weigh. I'm constant. I use my fitness pal every single day. Um, and I know that a couple of my family members, I've referenced this, you should measure your food, even if just for a week, just to see how much you're actually eating. And I get a lot of pushback, but I just continue to do what I do every single day and hope that one day they'll look in the mirror and they'll get tired just like I got tired of it and be like, you know what, let me talk to Brian. Let me ask him, and actually listen to what he says and follow what he says. Because I think that if you follow for even a month, 1 month, you can see good results if you do what you're supposed to do on a consistent basis, right?
Yeah.
But it's so easy for us to like, I don't even bring this stuff into my house. Like I don't like I know for me, potato chips, like that's one of my weaknesses. Like I love salty. There
They
could
only
be a
come in
gallon,
self-serving size, right?
there could be a gallon of ice cream in my freezer and I wouldn't touch it. Like it doesn't do anything for me. But if there was like a bag of Tostitos chips, that's a problem. Like I've grown to the point now where I am very good. Like I don't have to eat them, but man, it would like grind on the back. I'd be like, oh, there's chips over there. So I've learned to not do that. But I also know that family members have spouses, and those spouses don't necessarily, that stuff's going to be in the house sometimes. And so yeah,
Yeah.
I just try and lead by example, and hope that one day they'll look in the mirror like I did and say, enough. I don't want to be like this anymore. And you kind of have to flip a switch. You have to believe that you can do it. And the only way to do that is to want to do it first. So,
Well, thanks for helping bring some hope to some folks that might otherwise not know how to get started. I know as a practitioner, when somebody comes to me and they've been doing the work and it's not working, then that tells me we're starting at a very different place. We're starting with like endocrine disorder, we're starting with digestive disorder. Otherwise, we have to go back to the beginning, and it's much harder to figure out, is the weight problem connected to such a poor diet and lack of activity, or is such a poor diet and lack of activity connected to the endocrine disorder? Like, so I'm so grateful for the work that you do, Brian, and for the program that you're offering. And it's called 13 Weeks to Wellness. And you
yes,
said that the next group is starting October 7th, but there are rolling groups.
correct.
Yep. And you offered a gift to my listeners today. Tell me about that.
Yeah. So normally the program is $1,500. That program would get you 13 weeks, and then you would still be enrolled for the following 13 weeks as it rolled over, just in case you needed some more guidance. Normally the program is $1,500, but for your listeners today, we'll take $250 off of that price.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. And what do they get when they sign up for that? Are you going to be
Yeah.
at their doorstep at 5:30 in the morning?
No.
Okay.
um, yeah, it is an online course. What they will be getting is the 13-week program. They'll be getting access to myself and to my partner. Her name is Devin. She does the program with me. We have a weekly keynote. Right now, those keynotes are on Monday night, but that was through a survey that we took from those specific clients. So as the new one rolls, we'll put out another survey and see which night works best for everybody. And that will also include a 15-minute weekly one-on-one Zoom call with our clients to make sure that we're addressing any personal issues that they may be having with the program to modify. And then that's what they get. And if they need more help, we're accessible through our text messages. We're not, both of us have full-time jobs, so we can't always answer immediately, but we will get back to them, of course.
Wow, that's awesome. And you said the exercises, the steps people can do at home, they don't need to be able to go to a gym. So if they don't have access to a fitness center when they get started, then they can still get started.
Correct. In fact, the first week is just based around walking. So they won't need anything other than a pair of good shoes to go out and to walk. And the most, they don't have to have any equipment. Honestly, they could buy a gallon of milk and use a fold up, put water in the gallon and that would be enough weight for the program. Um, but there's some suggested items that we say, and it's probably if you go on Amazon and we could link them like $30 or $40 for resistance bands or a couple of other small things. But yeah, they do not need a gym membership to do the program.
And I have had my resistance bands for like 20 years and they are fantastic and I love them and I still use them. So they're such a great
Me too.
investment,
Yeah.
especially when I travel or switch it up with different kinds of training. Like they're a great investment. So that's really fantastic. Brian, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you want to make sure our listeners are aware of?
No, I really appreciate you having me on today. Thank you so much.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for your good work and putting your light out into the world. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.